Alright, so as part of the Bushcraft USA community, I've agreed to participate in a autumn foraging challenge. I'm going to go off on the landscape. I'm going to see what I can collect, what I can harvest to create a campfire feast. So I'll gather up all these ingredients and then I'm going to cook them over a campfire. To start the campfire, I'll probably use a white pine bow drill friction fire. I'll gather that from the landscape as well, and we'll see what I can put together. Hopefully, I'm trying to go big, and I hope it's going to be a big learning experience as well for myself and maybe for you too. So if you have any comments for me, if you have any questions, let's have a discussion. Let's improve our foraging skills together. One of the first plants that I found, Spicebush. What I'm going to use this for is a tea. What I like to do is take a handful of twigs and put them into a cup of boiling water. Put a top on it, trap those essential oils, let it steep. So I'll take a snap here. That should be enough for a big cup of tea. Been finding quite a bit of sassafras, sometimes called the midden tree. You see that leaf there? Looks like a midden. I'm going to dig up the root. The root is the best part for making a tea, so I'll use that for a tea. Kind of smells, tastes like almost like a fruity pebbles is how I would describe it. Well, got a bit of root here. A nice lateral root. I didn't have to kill the plant. I'll just tuck all that soil back in and could harvest some more another day. Okay, I've been walking by lots and lots of black birch, but this is the first one where I can actually grab a branch. So we'll be using some black sweet birch for a tea as well. What I'd like to do now that I found Spicebush, sassafras, and sweet birch, I'm going to make a triple S tea. I'll combine all three together and it'll have really some great deep flavors. There we go. Just like the Spicebush, I'll use the twigs. So twigs from sweet birch and Spicebush, and then the root of the sassafras. All three together will go into 1 cup of boiling water to make a delicious tea. I've been walking along the trail and now I found some fox grapes. Here's the leaf. Kind of looks like a heart. And then the grapes themselves. And they've been on there quite a bit of time now, so they've gotten a bit sweeter. And I'll collect what I can and we'll figure out a good use for them. There we go. Okay, that should be enough. I'll leave the rest for the birds. I just cut myself a piece of fox grapevine. I cut both ends so that the water would start dripping out. And I'll set this up so that I can collect some fox grape water for my bannock. Just to show another method of water collection. I might have to get a couple of these vines to collect enough, or maybe a nice larger vine will get a steadier drip. But it is coming, so I've got a couple hours. I'll just let it run. Here's autumn olive. The birds have done a very good job of clearing most of the berries, but there are still many on the shrub that I'll collect. Autumn olive. Black walnuts. The greenish blackish husk part I just rubbed off. I didn't dry them or anything. I'm just going to go ahead and crack it. Got a big rock. Oop. Plenty of nut meat in there. I'll dig a few pieces out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get a couple more. And I'll keep smashing. A lot easier than leeching acorns, right? Got some chicken of the woods. I actually found this a couple days ago, but I'm coming back for a little more. I didn't take it all, I left a little bit. I'll cut some, and you know, it's still fresh enough, especially if I just cut around here and use these tips here. It'll be plenty fresh for another wild mushroom ingredient. Chicken of the woods. Some wild nettles here, growing at the edge of a forest. Put my gloves on for these. They do have stinging hairs. They are neutralized when you put them on your tongue, or if you hold it gently over a fire, or if you put it in the fry pan or boil it. What I'll do is while I have my gloves on, I'll strip a couple of the leaves and I'll fill the basket. This is really a more choice edible earlier in the season, earlier in the summer. At this point it's getting a little more stringy. Actually could be used as a cordage. You know, it's a foraging challenge. See what we can find, see what we can make. Trying to be a little selective, taking the top. I imagine the top is going to be the most tender. Alright, that should do it. Okay, well, you have to make your own luck, right? So foraging, you know, sometimes you cover a lot of ground to look for what you're looking for. So I've been hiking through the forest, and I found some luck. Right here, I'm going to pop this off. This is Hen-of-the-Woods. Oh yeah. Probably weighs a good 4 or 5 pounds, maybe 5 pounds. Check that out. That'll be delicious with really any wild game. Squirrel, deer, trout. It'll definitely be a big ingredient in the meal. Here's some more wild hen. There we go. And smaller. That's a pretty good stash. More than we're gonna need for this foraging meal. The rest, what I'll do with it is I'll fry it up in butter, a splash of oil, and I'll put it in the freezer, and then I'll have it in the freezer for future meals. Okay, nice basket full of Hen-of-the-Woods. Garlic mustard. Kind of looks like a horseshoe. Looks like I'm a little late to collect the seeds. There's little black seeds in here that can be used as a spice, but they seem to have already scattered and shattered over the forest floor. So I'll collect a couple of these leaves, and I'll have another spice, another garnish, another flavor to add to the meal. These could be used as a salad as well. They're a little bitter this time of year, more so than in the spring. But surprisingly, I found a nice fresh grouping here, and they're not quite as bitter as I would have expected. So these could go well as a salad green as well. Spicebush has these incredibly flavorful berries, and there aren't many left. It seems that the birds have got quite a few of them, if not all of them. I've checked many spicebush shrubs and haven't found much. This one here happens to have a few left, so I'll gather up a handful of these spicebush berries, and I'm going to use them as a flavoring, as a spice. I'll grind them up. I'll grind them up similar to peppercorns, and that'll be a very good flavoring to add to the foraged meal. Look at this, guys. We got a rainbow trout. This will be a great addition to the foraged meal. I'll go ahead, I'll gut it right here on camera. Some of you guys, maybe you haven't done much fishing, so you get to see how that's done. right up the belly. Oh, look at all those eggs, wow. Keep the eggs. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead, reach my hand in, and rip out the guts. Could be good bait for something else. A couple more eggs. Next thing that I do, I take my thumb and I want to clean that inside out. So I'm just going to rub my thumbnail and try to work all that slime out of there. And then I'll rinse them occasionally. I'm going to rip out the gills. Alright, that's pretty good. I'll clean it up a little bit more, but that's basically it. I've got it cleaned up. Sometimes I'll cut right through and cut that, but maybe we'll cook it hanging, I don't know. So for now I'll leave it attached at this point in case we want to cook it through there. Rainbow trout. We'll see if we can get a few more. Well, I was wondering what wild leeks would look like in the autumn. I usually pick them in the spring. You see the bright green leaves, the big juicy bulbs, and you know, I never came out in the autumn, so I wanted to check on that. And if you look, I just dug up a whole bunch of bulbs. These look pretty good. I'll rinse them off in the stream, and I can already smell the strong onion flavor, so I think these will be another nice addition. Wild leek. Here's the seed head. Oh, try to hold it still. So that's what you can look for in the autumn to know, hey, you know, hey, there's a wild leek patch there. Check it out. This area here is just loaded with leeks. It's bigger than a football size forest field full of leeks. So I can take quite a bit. I know I'm not even going to impact the abundance of wild leeks out here. That should be enough. I'll cover this back up. I always clean my leeks here in the springtime, and the water's flowing past, carrying the dirt with it. Been in quite a bit of a drought recently. I was lucky that there was still a clean, clear puddle here to use. A couple violet leaves here to add to the salad. my foraging buddy, my wife. She's going to go up and collect some of the most choice apples for us.
Watch out below.
These apples are awesome. Really tasty. We're going to fill up the basket and see what else we can find. Found another apple tree. These are much smaller than the other apples. Guess you'd call these crab apples. Walking through an old property. It's a forest now, but it used to be a farm. And I found quite a few on the forest floor. A little hard to reach up there. I guess I could try to climb, but I've already got a basket full of apples, so I don't think that'll be necessary. I'm going to scavenge the floor here for a couple minutes, see if I can find any more of these fresh crab apples. Eat a couple on the way. Very good. This is a Lambsquarters. This will be it's little sparse looking, a little small, but the leaves look fine. So I'll collect a couple of these leaves and use them as part of a salad green. Wilts down well like spinach. That's kind of a similar taste. Lambsquarters. Near the Lambsquarters, a couple little sprigs of onion grass. I suppose I could dig up a little bulb down there, but I just got the wild leek, so I don't think it's necessary. There's one that just came up. Comparatively to the leeks, I don't think I should bother, but I'll keep this one. Some sumac here. That's good. It's still got that kind of sweet tartness. I'll collect a couple of these seed heads and we'll use them as well. Staghorn Sumac. Check this out. This place is just loaded with sweet fern. It's actually a shrub, not a fern, but it's called sweet fern commonly. And it just has a terrific aroma, a great smell. So I'll be able to use this as a seasoning. Maybe with some venison, we'll see, or potentially as a tea as well. It really makes a delicious taste and smelling tea. So I'll go ahead, I'll collect a couple bits of this. And now I've got another ingredient to add to the list of forage ingredients to make this, this meal soon.